Hi there. In today's video, I am giving you a little bit of this and that. And by that I mean, it's not an actual demo today. I am just giving you a few things that were going on this week. One was, I want to show you, I was putting away all my art from the art walk, and I was like, I got to show these guys how I actually go about naming my art. And I'd be curious what you do with your art. And then I am showing you a demo, or not a demo. I'm showing you some swatching I do with some soft pastels that were given to me. And I'm also showing you what else? Some random stuff in my art journal. When I'm just having a hard time getting started with getting back in a groove, I often just will open up the art journal pages in various ones, mix up a few colors, and just jump in and get started. Like, oh, it needs this color, or these two pages are stuck together. What should I do? I'll fix those, and then I'll put on some cold wax or whatever it is I need to do to seal it. And that, I feel like, is the jumping off point to continue. So often just finding a blank page, it's a hard place to start. So anyway, starting on a page that I've already done or is ripped or needs a little bit of correction, and I show you a little bit about that. So that for me is the impetus to keep making art. And I think sometimes when we've had a really strong creative burst, getting back into that can be kind of a slow process. But I feel like, okay, yeah, just by dipping into some paint, opening up an art journal, it kind of gets me going. So I'd be curious if that's helpful to you or not. And anyway, so without further ado, let's get started. I'm getting ready to name a few of my paintings, and I thought I'd show you kind of the process that I go through. I keep a book filled with little mini, I don't know, they're not really quotes, but it's like, I guess for me it'd be like poetic or words that are unique or somehow resonate with me. Things like, and they're not really, I guess poetic is the wrong word. It's just like something that I think might trigger a name for a painting in the future. So let me just throw a few out. So this one, The Echo Inside, The Taste of Sorrow, The Face of Tomorrow, Where Wings Unfurl, which that is very poetic, For the Time Being, Tonic of Wildness, just different words. And I just kind of keep a list of just plain words like bereft, rustle, clumsy, ambiance, conformity, bandage, wedge, obsolete. So all kinds of words that just strike my fancy. And then also these kind of little mini words or little clusters of words that I get out of, sometimes it's out of poetry, sometimes it's out of reading strong literature that the words just really resonate with me, and I don't want to forget, because when it comes to naming my art, it feels very personal to me. And so I want to take these words that have meant something to me and then apply them to my art. So what I typically do is, so for example, this painting right here, I set it so I'm facing it. I'm facing you, but obviously the painting is facing me. And I look at it, I kind of sit back, I look at it, and then I go through my words. And I just go through them until I find something that triggers a response. And sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes it's not in my book, and I have to set it aside because, I don't know, I take the titles very serious, and I feel like I try not to have the title be something that is obvious. Sometimes it is. Sometimes there's circles on there and it's a ring of circles, or something like that. I actually named the mixed media art that I did, kind of collage, which was just using book parts. I did name those book parts or something like that, right? And I have a series of bowls, and I also named those like different bowls. Everyday bowl, bread bowl, vintage bowl, that kind of thing. So truly, I mean, I could have just used the one word, descriptive word, but in that case, I did identify what it was. So, but in most of my art, I want whoever's looking at it to kind of come to their own conclusion, but I also want to give them maybe some underlying meaning without it being as concrete or as obvious as a title could be, like this one, Sandy sandy walk or something like that. Typically, I would use something less obvious. So in this case, so that's kind of how I do it. I sit back. I usually have a bunch of paintings that I'm done with, and then I'm going to start naming, and I kind of kick back and do that. So then after I come up with a name, I'm going to grab this painting, this one I've already named, and this one I titled Wading to the Edge. And that might be a little more obvious than some, but I feel like this kind of had a beach vibe to it, although I have this ladder and, maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense. But then on the back, I have my name, I have the title, I have the size, and then I have what materials I used, and then the year I painted it. Now, that doesn't mean that I couldn't change the name, I guess. And typically, I wouldn't do any of this unless it was going to be hung somewhere. So this was part of a art show that I did, a local art show for an art walk where you hang in a business for a period of time. And so all of the art that I hung, I wanted it to be named and labeled and have all the information on the back in case it sold. And then that person could, take that out and it would have, all the information on the back about it. So that's kind of how I approach titling my art. And so as I'm getting ready to put away all my art, I thought I just would show you kind of the process that I go through and how I do that. I'm curious what your process is, because I know everybody looks at it differently, and some, want it more simplistic than that, or maybe titles don't matter to you. So I'm just curious. And actually, while I'm sitting here, I'm going to grab this other piece and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Okay, I grabbed one of my portraits. Now, my portraits I named differently. I went through a whole period of time where I named them actual names. So, my name's Pam. I named the art Pam. I didn't really, but you know what I'm saying. So, and then I went through a period of time where I named the portraits based on a feeling or a sensation or my book of words. So this series, I have 3 of that are oil pastels. I went back and named them actual name. Like this one is named, her name is Lucinda. So, and again, I have a list of names, and I have lists of names that I've already used, which I kind of keep them separate because it would be easy to reuse a name if you didn't remember. And I'm sure there's great ways for master or, artists who sell a ton of art. They keep their names, I'm sure, in great order, and there's other systems. This is just for a simple way to keep track of it. I keep an Excel spreadsheet. I have a list of names that I've used and a list of names that I would like to use or might consider down the road. So this one, again, I label them the same way with my name, the name of the painting or artwork, the size, what materials I've used to create it, and then the year that it was created. So that's the 2 ways that I go about naming my art. And again, I'd be curious if any of you have other ideas or other thoughts around that, because I'm always interested in learning new things and getting new tips. So anyway, that's just a little bit of what's happening as I was putting away my art. I thought, I'm just going to pause for a minute and share a little bit about how I do that. I was gifted or given this. It wasn't a gift. It was just like somebody was getting rid of these Master's Touch soft pastels. And I had said, sure, I'll take them. But I don't know if I'm going to like them or not. So I thought I'd swatch them and show you what I'm doing here today. Typically, and I grab a couple here. I like these, the Unison, which are pretty expensive, and the Sennelier, which are a little more affordable, because look at that, they're just soft and creamy, and they make a beautiful color. You can smudge them, and I'm going to make a mess here, so I got to rag off to the side. And you can put them with water. I have some water here. They are just a beautiful pigment. And so I've always been reluctant just look how pretty both of those are. Anyway, but I thought, well, I will just try a few of these colors and see if they look hard to me. But I thought, well, before I completely re-gift them to somebody else, I should at least swatch a little bit. And I thought, well, I'll just show you guys and let you know what I think. So, they're square, and typically the square blocked soft pastels are harder than the round ones. And I don't know why that is, but that's been my experience. Although, this feels pretty creamy. I like that color too. An olive green. That didn't feel too bad. I'm not gonna do the whole box. It doesn't blend quite as well with water. Not that you'd have to use that, but it is a pretty color, and it was softer than I thought. Okay, I'm gonna just choose some colors that I think, these are a little bright for me, but let's try this beigey one. I'm gonna try it right next to that. Yeah, they're just a little, I'm having to put a lot of pressure, so I'm not sure if this is gonna, I probably, here's the thing, I would say, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep them, but then guess what? I wouldn't actually use them. I can already tell, but let's do a few more. Let's just see. I like this color right here. It's kind of like that color. Let's do it right below it. See, this one feels nice and soft. So some do feel soft and some, well, I've only done 3, so, but it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it blends as well, although it's very similar to this one. And I'm only keep going because the little shavings are down there. I don't know. I guess it's okay. What color should we do next? Let's do this brown. Yeah, when I first put it on, feels kind of soft. I mean, it does feel soft, but it doesn't blend quite as well, I think. Maybe that's it. Anyway, I don't know. I have to think about it. There's a lot of colors in here that I probably wouldn't use because I don't really use these shades down here, these bright shades. Although, obviously, you could add those in for a pop of color. That's pretty bright, but that's a cool color. So yeah, I think with soft pastels, one, they're super messy. I'm doing them in a less messy way, and I still have a pretty good mess. But I can see, okay, so up here they're a little more blendy. I guess I should try blending it with my finger, is what I should try. Let's try the gray and see if how that feels. Because a lot of times with soft pastels, I will do blending kind of like that. And then if I want to add some water, I do, or some other medium. Yeah, I just feel like, yeah. And I guess for me, I have to say, it's okay to not every art supply has to be your favorite. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to love every color and every supply, and not sure. Okay, I'm just gonna do 2 more. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep a few of the colors I like and give the rest away. Or maybe, if I know what's good for me, I say it's okay that I don't love every color, or I don't love every art supply that happens to be in front of me. I don't have to love every single one. So what color should we do? Let's do another green. I don't know about these greens. I'm not sure. Maybe just do a vibrant green. Ooh, wow, that's a little too vibrant for me, but that's okay. Okay, last one. Okay, so yeah, I think they're okay, and for their price, I think $30, and probably, I think that's Hobby Lobby brand. My hunch is they probably have them on sale. It'd be a great way to start, and I think these are kind of more the ones I started with, because it's affordable and you get all the colors and you get the feel for it. And if you don't really like soft pastels in general, or you're just beginning, it would probably be a great way to start. Because these let me grab, like I said, these unisons, they, oh my gosh, yeah, there's a big difference when you put it on. They are a lot more expensive, and so it's a bigger commitment, and you have to really know that you want to use it, or that you will be using soft pastels, because you don't want to invest a lot in something that you don't think you're going to use. So anyway, I just wanted to show you what I was doing, because I was opening up this box. I was cleaning things up, and I just kind of wanted to see, is this something I want to use, or do I need to hand it off to somebody who is just beginning, or maybe even a school, or I'm not really sure. But anyway, I probably won't keep them. I have this huge bin, so I really don't need any more. But I thought if I really like those, I could I could incorporate those into the mix. So anyway, okay, we're done with this, and thanks for just indulging me while I tried out these soft pastels. All right, I couldn't resist. After I turned the camera off on these few, I was like, I just want to make sure that I really do love these soft pastels. And I'm like, okay, let me pull this over a little bit. They're so beautiful and soft and creamy, and they mix well with water, and it just, I don't know, their colors are just rich, and this is just a fast use of them, but it really confirmed for me that I just need to stick with what I have. And even if something's free or super cheap, for me, it's not always the best way to go. But again, I think it'd be a great starter set, and there's a myriad of colors, and you could really have fun with them if you didn't have anything, if you didn't have other soft pastels, or if you were just interested in giving it a try. So I'm blathering on, but I just wanted to come back and show you what I did. So that's all for now. So I was going through this art journal. This is an old book that I've made into an art journal. And what I've lately been doing is when I've been pulling apart pages, okay, here's one for an example, and they're sticking, I have been first I've been repairing it. So like this is black, so I'd probably paint this black. And then I've been taking this cold wax medium, and maybe I've talked about this before. I used to put just a coat of clear gesso over it, but I was finding that wasn't even working as good. So when you put two acrylic pages together, sometimes they stick, and then the paint pulls off. And sometimes I don't really care, but other times it's kind of annoying. And so I tried the clear gesso, which works okay, but lately I've been using just a coat of the clear wax medium, and that seems to work even better. So I basically just put some over the top and wipe it with a rag. But I just kind of want to show you what I was doing. So today I'm going to, the thing about an art journal is literally, obviously you can only work on this page right here, and then you have to let it dry before you can do anything else or apply the clear wax over it. Another thing I've been trying to do is really leave it open and let it dry really well before I close it. And I think that is also helping. But today I'm going through my art journals, and I'm going to those stuck pages. I'm gonna just mix up some random paint, and maybe I'll change it all together. But I do have, not a lot of stuck pages, but some. And I've been kind of periodically going through and unsticking them, fixing them like I would paint this with some more black. Unless I liked it, because sometimes it's fine to have those bits and pieces sticking out, but I find it sometimes a little distracting. And then I leave it open, and then the next day put a coat, or later when it's completely dry, I put just a really light layer of the cold wax over the top. So anyway, if you have any tips or tricks for what to do when your pages stick together, let me know, because I've tried a number of things, and obviously this cold wax seems like it's the best trick in the book so far. I know some people put paper like this. Here, I'll grab a piece, like deli paper or paper in between so they don't stick. But I find I don't really want to leave a whole bunch of paper in between my pages in general. So I just kind of want them not to stick. So anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of paint. I'm going to mix up some random paint, probably black for this, and I'll just show you as I'm going. I'm not going to really talk about it, but I will just let you see kind of what I'm doing. So again, I'm just going to get started. I'm going to paint kind of loosely, bring things in and out. I'm going to be adding paint, mixing paint, whatever. I just am starting with some black and some green gold that I just am trying to use up anyway. And so I guess I already said I won't be really we won't really be talking, but I'll just kind of take you along. This is kind of a day, I guess I did want to kind of explain. This is just a day when I'm trying to get back into a consistent pattern of making art. And after the big rush of January, I'm finding that I'm not completely back into a rhythm again. I did so much art in January for the art show and the art walk that now February felt kind of like not a fail, but kind of, I was just kind of not doing a lot of art, a little bit, but not a lot. But now I'm trying to get back into it. It's March. I gotta get my mojo going. And so when I don't know what else to do, I often just like open a page, that needs to be fixed, start there, and then one thing leads to another. Because I felt like once I'm in motion, that's when the good stuff happens. thanks for joining me as I showed you a little bit of what was happening over the past week or so, just a little bit of this and that, like I mentioned earlier. And so anyway, I hope that you find these helpful just in your own creative journeys, that these little tidbits will kind of get you inspired and get you to do your own creating. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next time.